anybody here has ever experienced a bout or episode of depression, you know that the body doesn't have enough energy, that you don't even have energy to produce nurturing thoughts or self-loving thoughts, that all the thoughts that you have are pretty much just draining and there is no point to anything. And that's where I was. I was just swiping through the phone because that was my only window at finding maybe content that resonated with me or content that made me escape, that state of depression. And so I started going on Tumblr, out of all places, right? I started looking at the Tumblr content, and you probably know what Tumblr content is. It does. It tends to be like very funny on the wacky side, but at the same time, it produces very beautiful poetry and artwork. And I started resonating a lot with the poetry and artwork that I found in Tumblr. And it was the only sort of point in my day where I would feel something. In a period where I was numb and I couldn't feel much. And so because I was running the page back then, I had an idea. What if I share this content that usually doesn't get shared in public or on social media, because social media was and still is very superficial. People share what they're having for breakfast, what they're having. No shame if you do, that's fine. It's social. But I wanted something much more, deeper. I wanted to avoid the small talk of social media, and so I started sharing content that really pierced through all the BS and through all the superficiality to get to the core of our emotions. And I simply wanted to see if anybody else was feeling similar things that I was feeling. And I started sharing that content. And then I noticed that it started going viral. The post started going viral. And before I knew it, the page had reached 1 million, right, followers. And I thought that that was exciting. I thought that maybe there was something there, but it didn't really click until I started getting messages from people on this page. People that would say, hey, listen, I look at your page every single day before I go to bed or early in the morning. Thank you for the inspiration. Those thoughts really help me throughout my day. But then I got the messages that actually matter, the messages that said, hey, a week ago, I was about to jump from the building. I was about to hurt myself. I was about to end my life. But there was something that I saw or something that I felt in one of your posts that made me reconsider. And so because of that, I'm still here. So thank you. And when I started receiving those messages, first I didn't believe it, because how could you believe that social media or a Facebook post could have that impact on a person's life? But then when I started receiving so many messages from all over the world, I realized that maybe we were entering into a new space, into new potential for social media. That wasn't only about sharing memes, that wasn't only about liking and following pages and celebrities, and maybe there could be actually something really positive and very real, happening with this thing, with this device in our hands. And so I started focusing more on that particular aspect of nurturing the mental health, the mental well-being, and the emotions of people. And I started the Antidote as soon as I realized that that was the impact, and that happened in 2015.
I got into this about 18 years back, to be precise, 19. And my journey was because I was in soup. And I had nobody to fall back on. Really speaking, all this had just picked up. I think Reiki was the very first thing that had just about picked up that many years back. And well, I approached them for help, and this one particular person, and I did get a lot of help, and that's what kind of piqued my interest. And over the years, oh my God, it seemed, when at that time I tried to get hold of more stuff, it was only international. And now you have probably somebody staying in your neighborhood who's there online, and you know it only when you go online and you're looking for them. So yeah, it has mushroomed like every other business, but I think it's for the good. We need to filter it, we need to make our choices, we need to pick the best from the rest. But yes, I think it's a good thing that we have something so handy in mental health, because it's very important. This has been there for many years now. Earlier on, it was more of experts doing it, the who's who in the industry. If you go to name some, Louise Hay, which is Hay House, is in a big way involved with holistic healing. Then there was Wayne Dyer, and it was just the big names.
I am not a therapist, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist. That's not my role at the Art Lord either. The one thing that I do and the one thing that I am, and the only thing that I can claim to ever be, is an artist. That's what I studied, that's my training, and the Art Lord, believe it or not, started as an art project. I wanted to design a space online in which I could curate artwork and quotes, fuse it together, and spark new feelings and conversations. That was really it. I had no intention of ever going viral. There's people that already know everything there is to know about the Arthodox, where it came from, who's behind it, and may actually want to experience the comfort that they feel in the posts that I share, in the content that I share. And and I know that there's also people that sometimes don't have a space in the real world to have a vulnerably honest conversation with someone, to talk about the things that they're really thinking about and the things that really matter to them. The same way that I attempted to hack the social media landscape years ago when I started sharing content that was very vulnerable and honest and real.
So much happening as far as mental health, and that's why it's now known more as holistic health, or alternative therapy, because there is so much. You can make your choices. You don't want to do the very run of the mill psychologist or a psychiatrist, that's fine. You go for Bach flower, you go for aromatherapy, you go for acupressure, you go for EFT. There is so much available. You make your choice, and you take the least painful way out, and I would say the least shameful way out, because it's still a lot of shaming that goes on as far as mental health is concerned.
If you had met me 5 years ago, I definitely wasn't here. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. I couldn't not only know how to express my emotions, but I couldn't possibly hold a microphone in front of a crowd of more than 100 people. Like, that was scary to me, because I felt that that wasn't a part of my identity. I felt that a part of my identity was being more of an introvert, being a recluse, hating most of the world. That was a part of my personality, and having these thoughts that were actually not comfortable. In those little pockets of safety and comfort, I didn't want to pay too much attention to them because they were not so frequent. And then everything started changing when I actually started paying attention to them, as also being a part of me, as also being a part of who I was and what I was feeling, right? And so if they started like this, and I paid more attention to them as to why I was feeling them, I started to just opening them up a little bit more and trying to find myself feeling safe in those feelings. Like, a lot of times we don't feel safe in spaces or among people because we have negative associations with certain spaces or certain people or certain relationships. And the thing that we have to learn to do is how to feel safe in those spaces, in certain relationships, and in certain also feelings that may not be often, but nonetheless, are yours.
I feel mental health and healing encompasses so much. Like you just spoke of art, there could be dance. I know of someone who's works with depression online with music. So it's varied modalities, varied expressions, and I think we must have the maturity to choose and understand what a particular person or media is really offering us, and make those choices wisely. Like every other profession, this too has a flip side, and because this has a lot to do with fear and faith and hope, I think that's where people misuse it. When I say people, it's one of us, a community of healers, where because it's easy money and people would invest in wanting to, mm, know what their future holds. Uh, One generates fear to generate money, which is sad. But well, nothing goes unnoticed. Over time, I think everything, integrity is important for any profession. So, integrity, especially in a spiritual profession and a mental health profession, is very important. So, if you're not good, you will be picked up, you will be spotted someday. So, one has to do it with integrity. That's very important. But yes, there are people who do it for money, who do it for fame. Um, they create brand names, and after they've created their brand names, they are upscale because they can't be touched by just about anybody. But that those are a few, a handful, and I'm sure, I think everybody attracts into their lives only what they need to have.
The stories that, for example, you haven't seen are the stories that I dare not share with the community because they're very graphic, not only visually, but also in the type of content or the type of thoughts that they're having. People that really need immediate help, and sometimes I just feel that I've reached the end of my possibilities to help somebody. And at a certain point, I had to accept that fact that I couldn't help or save every single person that comes into my inbox.
What really does happen is that, supposing I start a page, um, I think it's more pragmatic for me to involve more like myself. Supposing it's a page for tarot, that I involve more people who know tarot. There's a lot of sharing and caring, because you alone, as you rightly said, cannot handle all of it coming there, because you have members joining, you have them asking new members to join, and then suddenly it's a huge community. And how far can you really be genuine and good to each one of them? So what usually we do is we add on more people. I run one WhatsApp group of all my students and one of all my clients, and the clients could be of have come to me for various reasons. Somebody going through a divorce, somebody going through a mental trauma, someone going through some medical health issues. So they are varied people, and all genders, all ages. So what I do is, somehow I believe in the power of the subconscious. Our mind is mind over matter. So I work on those principles. I post affirmations on my Instagram pages. I post power thoughts. I post cards, which are messages, and I have these calendars with beautiful pictures and beautiful messages. I post them on a daily basis because these are something that I would say harmless and helpful. So the two H's that I give them, I serve them as breakfast literally, is that puts a smile, it perks their day up. How do I know that? Is because I am told that it's helped and this one is nice and it's great, keep going. And these little messages are enough to give you a pointer that you're doing the right thing. I give them angel numbers, I give them little signs that they could, because this is a business of hope. It is a business of getting up each day and taking one step ahead. So I won't even call it a business. I would say I almost feel duty bound to do it. So I don't know whose lives I'm touching, and yet it gives me complete satisfaction. The moment I put up that and I put up that little note there, it just tells me, I just wish someone that needs this little note today, it reaches them. So yeah, that's, I think, the agenda, literally, that if I could touch someone's lives, because I know what it was 18 years back when I had no one who could do that to me or for me. And today, if I can do that and I can put a smile on some face, I think my day is done.
I will receive also messages in my inbox from people that they find a lot of comfort in the posts of the Artado, comfort because sometimes they get solutions to certain things or they get aware about certain issues that they're going through. And that develops sometimes the idea that I have all the answers, right? And that's why I had to make that disclaimer that I'm not a therapist or a psychologist. But they sit down and they start revealing, their most vulnerable, honest thoughts.
See, empathy is something that is not learned, firstly. It is not about trying to solve somebody's problem, it is about hearing someone out. It is tough. It is tough, but it's not impossible. So it's difficult, but not impossible. Again, even as a mental health professional or a holistic healer, I may not be able to solve the problem. I literally tell everyone that I'm like the mirror. I do not set your hair straight. I just show you where it's unruly. So you set it, I think it's empowering. So anyone who's not a mental health professional, if they are trying to empathize, it's something that should come naturally. It's something that you feel from within, that I just want to hear this person out. And then you direct them to maybe someone, make them aware that they do need help and that they should approach someone who could actually help them out in whatever way. So do not let it rough you up, and let it not remain with that person and burn that person out.
When somebody comes to you with a problem or with an issue or with something that requires you to be present and for you to also just be 100% there, something heavy, it's very difficult not to get drained, right? So the way that you do it is by becoming aware of two things. One is that their feelings belong to them, not to you, right? And two is that if you were to start feeling their feelings and their experiences, you're also taking your body, your feelings and experiences that also don't belong to you. So you're doing a disservice to them and to yourself.
Earlier on, it was a very Western concept. Approaching for help, speaking about your mental health. Even today, it isn't all out there, yet it's more approachable and it's more acceptable. So it's very important. In fact, we do follow the 3 A's of mental health. One is aware and accept and act. Because the moment you're aware, then you need to accept it, that this is a problem that persists with me or is there with me, and it's all right. It's fine. If it's fine to feel, it's fine to be how you are. So it's very, very important, and people need to, whatever media, because most are still closeted about their emotions, and coming out in the open and saying that I'm depressed or saying that I, get panic attacks. So for them, if at all they find a good platform online, on social media, it's perfect. But I think at the end of the day, they do need to really approach in person, in individual, and get the kind of help, because it's very important.